And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com every Friday, where I'm talking about some books that you should keep an eye out for when digging in those back issue boxes, those cheap bins, those dollar bins, those $2 bins even, really. Wherever you find your cheap comics, this is the stuff you should just keep an eye out for. Generally, what I like to do is pick a topic and then just kind of roll with it on Fridays. Now, I got another topic for you this week. I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole in a sense where I started thinking about one thing, planning to do one topic, and then somehow I ended up somewhere else. It happens sometimes. Sometimes the mind brings you places that, are pretty interesting, and you don't expect them. That being said, hopefully you enjoy the content. If you are, please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss any of it. We're getting near 1,000 subscribers, so please tell your friends, get more people to join, and subscribe to the channel so we can all have fun talking about comics, pop culture, Star Wars, toys, and all that fun stuff that we have. And as you can see, I am rocking my Dollar Bin Digging t-shirt today. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can check the links below for links to my TeePublic and Teespring accounts, and you can buy some Rennavision merch if you are so inclined. Now, if you want to see where I found myself after my fall down the rabbit hole, come back in a couple of seconds and I'll talk about the books. All right, so where did my wandering mind take me? I started thinking about Riri Williams again and Ironheart, and somehow started stumbling into Armor Wars, and then thinking back to Black Widow a little bit. So somehow I ended up here, kind of back with Black Widow a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. Now, not talking about Black Widow herself or anything really related directly to that movie outside of, again, thinking of like Armor Wars. I started thinking of like Titanium Man and Crimson Dynamo, and that little Easter egg nugget of Yelena mistakenly calling Red Guardian Crimson Dynamo got me just thinking and speculating in my mind of what if, where could we be? And I think also with the idea that What If is dropping and has dropped this week on Disney Plus, that I'm just doing my own version of What If and thinking where we could go with some of this Disney Plus type stuff. And Red Guardian is a character that I really enjoyed in the Black Widow movie, and I would like to see more of it. I know I mentioned it a while back about possibilities. Well, could we get a Russian themed team? Maybe. I'd be into it if we did. And as you can see, he was a standout character for me in that movie. I did really enjoy him. And there's possibilities with the Soviet super soldiers or even, the Winterguard as possible teams that we could have. I know there was also a little Easter egg of Ursa Major in the movie where the big guy whose arm he broke in the prison by arm wrestling, I think his name, they was calling him Ursa, so maybe that was his nickname. I don't think he was actually the big bear character that is on the team, but hey, it was a little wink and a nod, and I appreciated it. But who knows? Winterguard could be something that I would be into if they were to explore that. I mean, why throw away the character when you have them? Make use of them. Give me a little mini Disney Plus series, just something. And Marvel themselves, I mean, they published a brand new Winterguard comic not that long ago, so they had a new title, so they weren't averse to the idea of exploring these characters a little bit further. You got Yelena Belova you can mix in there with Alexei, and I don't know, just something that could be interesting. Definitely something that could be interesting. So if they were to do something like that, you got to figure something you want to keep an eye out for. I mean, apart from, like I said, I mentioned the Soviet Super Soldiers book a while back. You should keep an eye out for it. It's still very, very cheap. If you can find it, it's kind of a fun 90s book. It's just a one-shot that basically covers this Winterguard team, but at the time, they were the Soviet Super Soldiers. Now, this was, again, in a past pick, something I did a while ago, but what you may want to look for if you're thinking for Winterguard and actually think that this might happen, you might want to think of Winterguard's first appearance, which you can find in Invincible Iron Man #9. I forget what volume this is. This is the one that came out in 1998, like right after the Heroes Were Born revamp, which might have been volume 2, which ran for only like 12 issues, and they rebooted again. I think this might be volume 3 of Invincible Iron Man, but the issue #9 is the issue that has that first appearance of Winterguard, inside. They're just kind of in this little backstory, and they're kind of small at the top. That's the actual group there. And if you read the text, it explains, and there's the Winterguard. But there is their first appearance here in this Invincible Iron Man book. It's definitely something you can find on the cheap. This isn't that expensive of a book. You can find this tucked away in boxes because there aren't a ton of Iron Man books to actually go hunt when you're digging in those boxes. So what I do on some of my other videos, I try it out here on Dollar Bin Digging, see how it works, see how I feel running it. So recent sales, $11.50. I usually cover this kind of data in the article, but I figured, you know what, I'll throw it on the video as well. So $11.50 on August 7th, a copy of this sold. 3 bids at auction. $11.50 is what, so you might be paying if you're buying this on eBay. Or if you want to go looking for what you can buy right now, you want to see what's available. Copies are anywhere from $3, $10 to $15 on this. Some people listing it as first Winterguard, other ones it's just Invincible Iron Man #9. So it's not a huge deal, but it's just one of those under the radar type of things that you might want to just keep an eye out for. And just if you find it for cheap, tuck it away in a box because you never know. If we're getting an announcement for Winterguard, this is the type of book that would end up on a hot 10 list like that. Just saying. So that's kind of where I fell when I was going down this rabbit hole. But one of the steps to get there was me thinking about one of the, again, like I mentioned, one of the particular characters, which was, the Crimson Dynamo, which came from thinking through Armor Wars, which we do know we're getting an Armor Wars series on Disney+. So Armor Wars and Winterguard kind of connect on the next couple of books here because both plays are in play for both of these options. And when you're thinking through characters that we might see, again, I was thinking through Crimson Dynamo. Like, this is a character that we might see in an Armor Wars, something that could connect back to Alexi, something that could connect back to a Winterguard type of story, something, anything. Now, tons and tons of versions of this character. There really were. There's a huge list of people who technically went by the name of Crimson Dynamo. I'm only going to talk about a couple here, but going off that first one, Anton Vanko, which they kind of did with Mickey Rourke in Iron Man 2, when they kind of made him Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo in one. So we're probably not going to see him again. But there is a treasure trove of other options that they could go with here. Tons of different characters. I'm probably going to butcher some of their names, the ones that I did pick, but bear with me. I'm going to do my best. Now, so many different options. One of the ones I think that is kind of popular and ran for a good length of time was first appeared in Invincible Iron Man, the first volume, issue number 109. And this was, what's the name of this character? You can see inside. This was Dmitry Bukharin? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but this Dmitry version of the character, again, ran for a while and was a very popular Crimson Dynamo for a good stretch. He's got more of that bullet head kind of a look to his armor at that time, but that's the one that is a possibility if they were to link back, because I believe, like, again, this was a character they used for a while in the comics. Wasn't just like a one-off appearance. He kind of lingered around for a little bit. He doesn't get top billing here on the cover. The cover is promoting this Menace villain more so than Crimson Dynamo, but he's in there, and this is the first for the Dmitry version of Crimson Dynamo. Recent sales on this guy. This thing can go anywhere from right around $10 to $11.50, $11. Pretty standard. Again, it's pretty old. 35, not pretty old, but it's a 35-cent Iron Man. It's one of those things you might find. It might be a little beat, might be a little banged up, maybe a very good fine copy that you find it tucked away in a box because it's just old filler Iron Man run time, So just something to flip through and keep an eye out for if you're in those boxes, because there is a first appearance there. And if we want to look at what's available, oh no, wrong book there, but the prices are right, $2.99 to $12. So disregard my my mistake. Maybe I'll cover it up in post. But $3, $12 if you want to go buy one outright. That Invincible Iron Man 109. Moving on to our next Crimson Dynamo. Because like I said, we got a couple. Issue 255 of Iron Man. It gave us another one. This is, again, in that run of books where there's just not a whole heck of a lot of interest. I mean, you're looking for first War Machine. You're well past the Demon in a Bottle. Well past first Thanos and Moondragon. Like, there isn't really a lot in the Iron Man run for you to go hunt. You're looking for like those weird little one-offs, like the Ghost character that was in Ant-Man, the Ant-Man sequel, Ant-Man and Wasp. Those are the kind of things you might find. But issue 255 is another first for a Crimson Dynamo. And this one is the first Valentin Shatilov. Again, don't know if I'm saying the name properly, but another Crimson Dynamo that kind of ran for a little while. So Another possibility of someone. Again, he has more of that classic look with the armor, that maybe that's the one they go with. But they can really do whatever they want if they were to actually bring a Crimson Dynamo to the screen, small or big screen. But issue 255 is, again, one of those cheap books. So you're not risking a lot. And there are just so many Crimson Dynamos that any of these could be in play or none of them. Yeah, just being honest. But I just thought it was kind of fun. As I said, I was falling down a rabbit hole, and this is where I ended up. Recent sales of this book, $1.65, $5.69. It's even cheap if you just want to go buy it. So you're not finding gold if you find one in a box. You're just finding potential. And if you were looking to go buy one on eBay because you don't feel like digging in that box, well, available right now, $7 to $8 is what you're looking at, even with free shipping at $8. So, again, not an expensive book to be sure. So, it's something you're interested in. You can probably find one, but I think it's just more fun just to keep it in mind when you're digging in the dollar bins. That's all. I wouldn't say go out and buy this book just for speculation purposes at $8 or $10 or anything like that. It's just more of one of those fun little dollar bin plays. That's just what I like to do anyway. But I think I do have one more for you. One more possibility for another Crimson Dynamo, and I actually like this one a bit more than the others. It's a newer version, and it is a female version, which I think could come into play and tie in pretty well with Riri. Just saying. And in Hulk Winterguard, again, tying back to Winterguard, Winterguard Armor Wars, I'm just kind of putting these things together in my mind as a kind of a little bit of a crossover. This is a one-shot for this character, and this one is the first Galina Nemirovsky. Oh, yeah, look at me just stumbling through that one. But you can see her; she's tucked away in that huge armor. But again, that's the kind of armor I think we're going to be looking for. That's just the idea you have. This big red, huge beast, almost like Ironmonger, but in red, is what I'm picturing for Crimson Dynamo to be fighting off whatever Iron Man we have at the time, whether it be Rhodey in that War Machine armor, or again Riri, who could be introduced somewhere along the way in here, because we know she's getting a series as well. So all of this stuff has to kind of tie together and tie back in my mind. You're going to have characters crossing over between these shows. It just makes sense. So what characters make sense? These are the things that are kind of running through my head. So what are we looking at here as far as recent sales go? This thing, again, is not too expensive either, which is why I think it's an interesting little book to keep an eye out for. $10 to $12 is kind of what you might expect, see that you might be paying if you're buying this online or on eBay and whatnot. At least those are the more recent sales that happened, just recently. Or if you want to look at what's still out there that you can go purchase, again, not too bad, $11.88. Right in that $10, $12 range if you wanted to buy this online. But again, I think this is just something you want to keep an eye out for in those cheap boxes. I mean, just keep this image in mind, this huge Hulk head screaming and then a big bear and a bunch of, soldiers out front. Definitely pretty cool. And as I was saying, this is something that I could see tying in not only Winterguard with Armor Wars and maybe potentially even Riri, because we are getting an Ironheart show. And again, that's where I started. I started thinking about more Ironheart books and more Ironheart books to dig out of those boxes. And I will cover those at some point, maybe soon. But in going off of that idea, that topic, Ironheart and Armor Wars, and just thinking through it, that's how I got through to Winterguard, and that's how I got here. So these are just cheap books you might find. I don't think there's a lot of heat behind them that other people are out there hunting. So it's stuff that might be in those boxes, something you guys might be able to actually find if you go looking. Because, I don't know, I think it's just kind of fun. Winterguard. Yeah, Ursa Major, Red Guardian, Crimson Dynamo, Dark Star. Don't know what lineup they'll actually use, or if they'll use any of this stuff. Because like I said, you can tie in Yelena, Belova, you got Alexei. You can throw in an Ursa Major, Crimson Dynamo, to be sure, and I think it'll be a lot of fun, personally. Something I would watch, at least. So, those are my picks for this week. And again, I know this is just completely out of left field, just something I was thinking about in my head, and no real basis behind it. Got no insider knowledge or anything like that. It's just my own personal what if. So, hopefully you enjoy this and you're enjoying these videos that I'm doing, as well as the other content that's on my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Make some suggestions. There's some topics or things you want to see in dollar bin digging going forward. I can kind of look at that. If you want to say I want to see more indie books, leave off all the Marvel. Fine, I can do that. It's just Marvel just seems to be dominating our consciousness right now, especially with comic book collecting and the shows and Disney Plus, that it's kind of hard to move away from that, because it's what's at least prevalent in my mind and stuff that I think has a lot of potential to be found in boxes, because indies are always a crapshoot when you're digging in those boxes of what you're actually going to get. I mean, you might find a bunch of Defiant books or Warriors of Plasm, things like that. So that being said, I appreciate you all. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. Again, get some more friends to subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 1,000 so I could do another giveaway. I got a huge prize to give away this time. I'm actually going to tease it ahead of the actual announcement of the giveaway. So just to give you guys a heads up of what you will be playing for. So I'll talk to you guys later.